Hey again, everybody. It's me, Josh, and this time we have a three-player game. It's me, funkdoc, the wishmaker, who's appeared on, I think, a couple of our videos before, and barmstrong as our last player. Barmstrong is another, longtime veteran of this game. They've been around when I was playing this before, like years ago, and they're still around, so that's cool. Barmstrong gets the 4 plant for 7 smackaroos. This should be a pretty easy map to build on for 3 players, so I'm not too worried about. I wouldn't be too worried about getting the 8 here. So I'm debating whether to take... I think I'll actually pass on the 3 and go for the 8. Again, the 8 is a much better starting plant in 3-player than in 4-player, because there'll be one less player buying coal in front of you. So you can power 2 cities for just $7 in the first turn, which is really strong efficiency. When you compare it to the 3, which is spending 6 to power 1, I'm spending 7 to power 2 cities. So I make a lot more money in the first turn. And I think this should be a decent enough map for building that I'm not worried about building last here. In fact, like, the wishmaker is a little bit less experienced of a player than we are. So I don't think I want a starting build that would go more than 9. So yeah, I have exactly enough here to buy 5 coal and still get build 2 cities. Because, like, say, Cheyenne Billings, this is the build that I'm expecting to get with the 8, and that would cost exactly 29 total. 10 for the first city, and then 9 for the connection cost, 10 for the second city. And I already marked down our plants, so we got 34 and 39 drawn. 39 will go under the deck this turn, so standard step 3 plant. One of the absolute best step 3 plants, too, usually. Like, it boggles my mind that 39 has a lower number than 42. That makes no sense to me. Now, this is interesting. I am definitely going to pass on plants the next turn. Okay, I like what Barmstrong is doing here. However, I'm not so sure about it because it means that we are going to get a lot of space too. Now what I'm going to do is I will actually go for Atlanta and Knoxville. I mean, I'm taking Knoxville regardless. Now, Cincinnati would seem like the obvious build, but I worry that that would push Wishmaker to jump into my stuff. If I do it this way, what I'm doing is I'll give Wishmaker a little more space to the south here, and I might make them try to jump into Barmstrong's territory instead, which is what I'm looking for. Very happy to get this build last, for sure. I was expecting to have to take the West Coast build last. Anyway, this is pretty much always with the plant 8 in a 3-player game, you pass on plants turn 2. You don't need to buy any of this crap. You force the other players below you to make the decision. Like, one of the big strengths of the 8 is not having to buy a plant on turn 2, which saves you money. Since you can make plenty of money on turn 2 with just your 8, since you should be able to get, you should only have to buy 1 coal to run your plant. Barmstrong passes with the 4. See, that's a tricky decision. This is exactly why I don't like the 4 plant as much in 3-player games, because this turn 2 situation where you either buy a plant, probably the 9, and give your opponent the 10 for free, or you have to pass and just stay powering only 1 city again. Wishmaker takes the 5, which I think is a good play in their spot because it means they can still stay below me in the turn order. So I like that option. I fully expect Wishmaker, they have to build Cincinnati next, obviously. So I'm actually going to stay all the way at the top of the turn order, eh? I'm going to run this plant again for another turn, so... I think even though I'm going to stay top next turn, I think I still won't build this turn. Wishmaker does not build, so they risk me taking Cincinnati, but I'm not going to do it because, again, if I take Cincinnati, that's going to push them to jump more into my cheaper cities here, which I don't want. This is how I'm playing the politics of this game. I'm trying to give them more incentive to jump into Barmstrong's territory rather than mine. $34 goes under the deck. And in comes 24, which is a very bad plant at this point in the game. Once again, I will pass on the plants, because I already have my coal stored for this turn. I don't need a plant right now. I'll push Barmstrong to buy the 10, and then Wishmaker gets the 13. Wishmaker might actually bid on the 10, though. Maybe. Maybe. Just because of the lower number compared to 13, but I think that would be a mistake. 13 is a hell of a lot more long-term value than the 10. 25 is lurking in the market there, so that's something to watch for. Wow, get dunked on, Wishmaker. Get dunked on. Well, Barmstrong's now back in really good shape here at this point with that drop. That was like the one really bad drop that could have come, because even if the 12 had come instead of the 13, 12 would still be okay for Wishmaker in this situation. It's no 13, of course, but 12 would be, you know, a decent enough plant to buy on turn 3. Now, in this situation, I shall not buy any extra coal, because I'm going to drop in the turn order here. On the next turn, $38 will go under the deck. Wishmaker obviously has to build Cincinnati. I think that's the most obvious one. And then because they have a couple different angles where they can jump into the west from there. Although I need to protect Savannah. I need to protect Savannah and Jacksonville first to make sure they don't want to jump there. Now this turn I will build, because it's not going to change my turn order. And Wishmaker will build before me on the next turn regardless, so I do want to take this now. Just to make sure that... just to give him less incentive to jump into my territory. Because through here I get connections into the rest of green through the Twins. I could actually use 13 right now. I will bid on this so that, yeah, okay. Because Barmstrong is not going to want to drop Wishmaker the 25 for free. That's a huge risk. So that's why I made that play. I think 13 was worth a little more bidding in that scenario, personally. I mean, 8 plus 13 is not really that good of a combo, though. At least Wishmaker can't buy any coal before me this turn. They already have the full 4 coal stocked in their 5 plant. And they kind of need to burn it sooner or later. Or they're probably just storing it for 25. That's reasonable, too. I'd say Wishmaker can build, reasonable to build to 3 and then run the 5 this turn with the 7. Yeah. The problem in this game is that only 2 oil come back into the game per turn. So for each turn that you run the 7 plant, you're making oil more expensive. Like the 7 plant alone using 3 oil, that's using more than oil's restock rate. Which is why that's one of the weaker plants in the game overall. It's why the 8 is so much more better over. The 8 is so much more important and better overall than the 7 because coal has a higher restock rate early on. I meant to buy 1 more coal, but not that it matters too much. Wishmaker might take Raleigh, actually. That's reasonable for them. Oh, no. Okay, they're aiming for the west. That's what I like to see. I'll block that jump now. That 15 connection to Raleigh. I think I'll just try to cut that off now. Force Wishmaker to go further west. Make the other players fight each other. Since I'm going to be top of the turn order next turn. Next turn, debating what plant to buy. I might buy the 11, actually. Because uranium's getting down to a decent price now. So you can see what a grindy game this has been in the early going. That's not all that... Ooh! 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 Wow, that's actually a very lucky drop for me. Very lucky drop. Because that plant fits me really well right now. With the 15 and the 13 together, I can power 4 cities with a pretty decent efficiency, especially for this point in the game. Very glad to have gotten that at cost, too. And yeah, Barmstrong again is just going to not buy a plant, and they don't want to risk dropping 25 at cost. So Wishmaker is now in a rough spot. They have to take the 11, I think. Replace the 3 with the 11. I think that's the play for Wishmaker here. Because when uranium gets down to 8, the 11 actually makes a profit even if you only use it for 1 turn. Spending 11 for the plant plus 8 for the uranium, and you gain, what, $20, $21 from the extra 2 cities that you power? $24, I disagree with that. I think 11 would have been better served because trash is only coming into the game at 1 per turn right now. So and trash is already expensive, and 24 will just make it more expensive. That's the problem here. This also makes me very glad I built Raleigh last turn, though. What I would do, in Wishmaker's shoes, I might have just bought the 11 and then tried, angle for a jump into Billings, because I think they should be able to afford that here. Maybe that's what they're doing anyway. They're not buying trash so they can afford the Billings jump. Because that's the most important... Wishmaker needs Billings right now. Whoever gets Billings controls the West Coast. It's really weird how that turns out to be the most important city. But here we are. 25... 31 came in. Okay. So 25 is in the market as of now, so I think I will want to store an extra 2 coal here. Because I won't go to bottom in the turn order next turn. I think I should still be below... I'll still be above Barmstrong in the turn order. So... Does not build. Okay. Barm doesn't build either, though, so Barm is willing to give up Billings. Interesting. I don't have an incentive to move the market right now. I'm actually going to stay at the top of the turn order again next turn. But I'll just stay here for now, I think is the play. No reason for me to build more yet. But yeah, I am crushing this game right now. 13, getting 13 for just what, 14 I paid for it is ridiculous. Now Barmstrong will buy the 16, I think. They just desperately need money. They're not buying it! Wow. 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 That surprises me. See, if Barmstrong had bought 16, they'd be looking a lot better now. We just got another bad drop in to block 25. This game has been so much dancing around the 25, and I've been getting, I've been sniping some pretty good plants. While others are avoiding the dreaded 25 drop here. So I like my position. Wishmaker now. Wishmaker has to get Billings this turn. It's really funny to me how freaking Billings, Montana is like the city that controls the entire Northwest, but that's how it works in Power Grid. Because you can see here how it gets you access to all these cities here. It gives you the cheapest connection into the Cheyenne-Denver Twins, which, why the hell are Denver and Cheyenne like a free connection Twin cities anyway? That never made sense to me either. Like New York and Philadelphia, I get. Even Savannah and Jacksonville, I understand more than that one. But whatever. So 16 it's a nice plant for Wishmaker because it means they can hold on to the 24 and not have to use trash yet still. Although now this turn they're going to use the trash, so I think they might just use the trash and go into Billings. Looks like the play here. So I have no reason to move the market here again. So I'll pick off the last 5 coal. Yep, there's the expected build. And now I'm not even going to be top in the turn order anymore, so I have no reason to build. Like, I'm winning the stall right now. I'm making the most money of anybody per turn. Easily. You see how much work that 13's putting in for me, by the way? That tends to happen a lot in these early games. That's why I'm a big fan of 13 in smaller games. Obviously, I pass on all this. Barmstrong now gets the 11. Yeah, obvious. Obvious call for them. And now the 20 comes in. Oh, God. This game is just being all like Sisyphus with that 25, isn't it? Oh, man. People just keep waiting on that shit, and it's not going to come. Yeah. Now, I really want to make sure to get that I not go top in the turn order. I absolutely want to make sure of that. And the reason is I don't want to have to buy the 20. That's what I'm looking at here. I will not build, and I will take the risk that Wishmaker jumps into the southeast and builds to 7. With Jacksonville still open, that's a possibility. The fact that they bought oil this turn makes me think they must be planning something. But I don't know about they'll jump because they still have St. Louis they can get a decent price, and these Northwest cities, yeah. Like Seattle and Portland are quite cheap. Yep, there we go. There's 21 now, yeah. I forgot to mark off 16, by the way. And now they're deciding whether or not they want to trigger step 2, which I think at this point they might as well, since they're already going to be at the top of the turn order here. Yep. There's this, and there's 26. Ooh, 26 is going to be amazing. Makes me glad I didn't store extra coal, too, because I might not need it come next turn. 2020. Okay, so nobody's going to buy the 20, I think. I'll click on this once. Why? I'll click on this a few times. It should go for at least 30. Oh, I'll buy 21. See, Barmstrong is in such a money hole that I'm not really scared of dropping them 26. I think I need to help myself first. $29.37. So we got a little while to go yet before step 3. I'm not too worried. Well, I definitely build to 8 this turn. And I will definitely have to start attacking oil here, for sure. Just max out these plants. Because next turn, I might angle for the 20. Maybe. Because my setup right now is not the most efficient thing in the world. I feel like Barmstrong still has to be, like, they have that big money deficit from earlier in the game when they spent so many turns just running the 10 and nothing else. And I have to hope that that hurts them, although building first in step 2 is a big advantage for them. Okay, they can't build to 9. That's a good sign for me. I want to make sure to get cheap stuff here. Now the question is, do I build? Do I jump? Because I can block Barmstrong up here in Duluth. That's an option. Not a cheap jump, though. Not a cheap jump. I do want to... I think I want to do this, though. There we go. Okay, so that made the expensive jump worth it. that I was able to get all 3 of those cities there. Because this was a time where I had to take advantage of my building there. And now, I'll buy the 20. I'll actually buy the 20 in this scenario. Because I already have a couple coal stored, I can live with that. I'm very pleased that the wishmaker is not buying extra coal. Because with me getting the 20 also, it made a lot of sense to get to get to 10 cities, because that's exactly how much I can power here. I'll have to pay this extra money for resources, though, just to make sure to stay stocked. Because now I'm not buying any more plants before step 3, that's for sure. Because if my math is right on this, we're not quite going to get to... We're not going to get to step 3 auction in the next turn. It'll be the turn after. So that will play to my favor, relatively speaking. Ooh, wishmaker blocking barm. That's what I like to see. Remember, this being step 2, you can build into the second spot in the city, but not the third yet. That comes in step 3. Step 3 building will come on the next turn, but not the step 3 auction. And now I'm not going to build, because that means I actually drop in the turn order. I at least drop to the middle, which is good news for me. In fact, I drop below the player with the 25. That's very, very important for me right now. Step 3 card comes next. 17 was the last plant left, so yeah, oof. Pretty rough market here. 24 will actually do some good in the long run, because we now know that 30 is not in the game. And 26 with 32 not being in the game should also be very good. No 32, no 46. So yeah, 40 is the only other like endgame oil plant left. Although we've driven up oil enough with 21 and 16 still hanging around, that 26 is not like guaranteed game winner anymore. So that's good news for me, at least. I'm just going to keep doing this. This is a bad step 3 market, which means I'm not going to build this turn. Barmstrong also shouldn't build either. Because the problem is, Wishmaker is going to struggle for acceptable plants to buy, because we don't even have any of the efficient 5 capacity plants. There's only 31 as a viable endgame plant here. Yeah, Wishmaker has to build to 12. Absolutely. I'm very... Okay, now they take Miami. I'm surprised they weren't taking Miami before. Now this gets interesting because we're getting close to endgame territory here, but I should have the edge over Wishmaker because of turn order. And 35 comes in, so that's technically not even a safe plant for them. Although it is an endgame oil plant that I had forgotten about before. They probably don't know that, 32 and 46 aren't in the game, though. Nah, they'll still buy it, so that's a reasonable play. Reasonable play. All right, this is what we're fighting for now. Forgot to mark off 38. I mean, there's a lot of good plants in here for me at this point. And I feel like trash is like cheaper than the rest, but not cheap enough. Well, now my 20 looks silly. My 20 looks really goddamn silly now. What plant came next? 34. That's one of the ones I might have liked to see. Oh, man. Well, we got some good plants left. 50 and 39 are the gods. 40 should be decent here. Yeah, 40 should at least be safe. So what I have to decide is this. I'll actually do that. I'll replace the 20. That way I can power an extra city for free this turn, see what my opponents do. The risk here would be that Wishmaker ends the game at 14 if Barmstrong can't reach 14. But actually, I'm not even so sure that Wishmaker could end the game in the first place. I expect Barmstrong to buy 6 trash here and 2 more oil. That's what I'm thinking will happen. Because Wishmaker and I are in a very similar position where we'll both need a 7 plant on the next turn to reach 17, but the problem is the only such plant is 36, which will not be safe for the player at the top of the turn order. Now, luckily, Barmstrong doesn't have a coal plant, so I can safely buy this last 3 coal here. So 20 was paying an extra coal to power an extra 2 cities compared to 15. That's effectively what it did. So I would have powered, 8 versus 10. So 30 minus the cost of coal. So 98. So it made me an extra $15 minus the cost of coal. So 30 minus the cost of coal for those turns. So 20 was borderline whether it even broke even for me. Yep. That's the play right there. And what I'm going to do here is actually buy the extra 3 coal. This makes it so Wishmaker cannot safely run the 25 this turn. Unless they end the game, of course. But, Barm is... God damn it. That probably means endgame, huh? Where could the Wishmaker build that I could block for a cheap build? Omaha for sure. I have to do Omaha. I can build 2 more cities and stay at bottom for the next turn. Problem is, there's really nowhere else left for me to build that blocks them. Just Omaha is their last like cheap city left that I can make more expensive on my end. So I did my job there. I have to take Miami while it's still in step 2. Definitely. The question is, what's next after that? Ooh, Denver. Denver is actually worthwhile for me too. Yeah. Yeah, that works. Can they not end the game? I think they can, though. Yes! Wishmaker can't end the game. Okay, this is good news. This is actually fantastic news here. Because I'm bottom, I can safely fire the 31, and then I can buy the 36 next turn and end the game at 17. Because I have way more money than Barmstrong right now, so I'm not worried about Barmstrong getting to 18 here. Alright, I made the right move replacing 20 this turn because I make a little more money this way and still stay bottom of the turn order. There's 36! That's the plant for me. And the Wishmaker can't touch it. Wishmaker can't... They have to buy 34. They can only get to 15 safely. What they could do is put 36 up for bid. And then I might actually bid on it some. Because it is a safe plant for me. Let me calculate my city cost here. What are my cheapest cities left? I'm purple, so... Ooh, I get St... no, I don't get St. Louis. That sucks. Let's see here. What do I get for cheap? Ooh, I think I know the answer. Because my builds are Cheyenne, Billings, Seattle, Portland. So that's how I get the 17. Minus the 2 oil. And 3 coal. So I can pay up to 15. I could pay up to 59 for the 36 plant. I don't know if Wishmaker realized... Yeah, I think I just won the game with that. Because I don't know if Wishmaker realizes that's the last 7 plant. They can't get to 17 now, so I should win this. Unless Barm actually has 18, but I don't think Barm's going to get to 18 because I'm going to make Seattle and Portland more expensive for them. No, I can't get St. Louis, though. That's right. Boise would probably be the... Nah, not Boise. Cincinnati might be better for me. So, yeah, I think I won this game. It was interesting, given that my 20 buy didn't work out very well, exactly. Like, 20 might have cost me money overall. I really thought Barm would getting the 26 drop at cost could win them the game potentially, but we did a good job driving up oil to make sure that 26 wasn't going to be a free win. I only need 4 more cities. I actually could have gotten to... I maybe could have gotten to 18 this turn if I had the capacity for it, but that would have been cutting it close. Barmstrong's spending a lot of time thinking. I think they're doing the math to decide... Like, they're trying to figure out if they have any chance at 18, but I'm pretty sure they don't. I think their play here is just take 34. Take the 34 and go for 17. I didn't even see 40, though. I mean, Wishmaker, so Wishmaker only has 16 capacity. I'm curious to see what the money looks like at the end of the game, because Wishmaker is probably richer than me. They just ended up in a bad spot with turn order at the end. Turn order so often is what wins you the game in the end game. Trying to aim for bottom of the turn order in the step 3 phase. Like, bottom or at least middle, like, you don't want to be the very first person bidding on plants when the step 3 market does not look good to start. And it looked horrible here, so. It's funny, like resources are driven up so much, and I'm going to end up winning the game having bought 4 massive coal guzzlers, or no, 3 massive coal guzzlers. Plus, I was using the 8 and the 15 earlier before that, too. I was running coal, like, the entire game, which normally doesn't win when it gets this bad. Okay, so Barm is going for 18, it looks like. So I'm definitely going to be doing the... What is it? The Cheyenne, Billings... Yeah, Cheyenne, Billings, Seattle, Portland. That's my best cities left, because Wishmaker is no longer a threat to me. And I at least drive up, and at least Barm didn't store extra oil, so I get to make that $2 more expensive for them to get the oil on 26 for this turn. Yeah. Do this. I have to hope that Barm can't get to 18. But my suspicion perhaps is more that maybe like they can't end this turn and they're just hoping the game goes one more turn. Although the fact that, well, I mean, 24 got replaced, so Barm doesn't need to buy extra trash now. In fact, buying extra trash last turn might have been a mistake then, maybe. Maybe a slight mistake, knowing if you knew that Wish would replace 24 on the next turn. Yeah. Oh, Barm doesn't build. Wow, okay then. Yeah, they were even poorer than I realized. All right, that's it. I get a clean win here. Only person to power 17. With plenty of money to spare, too. I think this game came down to my early advantage. First with the 8 plant, and then the 13, then the 15. The market stalling so hard early on, and so many times Barmstrong not buying a plant because they didn't want to drop 25 for Wishmaker, that really, really gave me a massive advantage because I had such better plants than everyone else throughout step 1, and I was making so much more money than them. That's what led to me winning this more than anything, I think. Plus just me sticking with the turn order plan. That's really rare to see. You know, again, 8, 13, 20, a 20 that I only run for 2 turns before I replace, 31, 36. And 21 also with this expensive fossil fuel market. All those together, and I end up winning this still. Oh, wow. So Wishmaker actually... Oh, Wishmaker was poorer than me, actually. Because it looks like they had more money than me here, but also they built one less city than me. So they would definitely have less money than me if they built a 17th. All right, so I was the richest player, too. All right, cool. Thanks for the game, everybody, and I got to get ready for work, so see you later.